Hello, I'm Ratna, and today you will do with me reading skills. What is reading? I think we all know what reading is. We all read, be it a book, be it a text message on our phones, or be it a little story on the Kindle, or a letter written to us, an email, whatever. So we all read, right? So why are we talking about reading skills now? Primarily because you have to answer your exams, and the board once has allotted 20 marks for reading skills. My aim is that you should all get 20 out of 20 in your reading skills. So let us do reading skills a little bit in detail, and I hope that after my class you'll be better equipped to answer your comprehension questions well. So we are doing reading skills primarily to do well in our comprehension passages. All right. So here, let's begin. What is read? Read is to comprehend. And that is, the word, it means to understand. And that is why when you have to do a comprehension passage, you have to focus on your reading. Only if you are able to read well and read intelligently can you understand or comprehend, and only then can you max in the comprehension passage. So reading comprehension is the act of understanding what you're reading, right? So it is an intentional, active, interactive process. Intentional. You're doing it purposely. Interactive between you and the reading passage. And it is active. It is not a sleeping act. It's an active act which occurs during or after a person reads a particular piece of writing. So here we are talking about a particular piece of writing, a passage that you need to read, right? So when a person reads a text, he engages in a complex array of cognitive processes to comprehend the meaning, right? There are two elements. While you're reading, there are two elements that you basically focus on. What are the two elements? One, the vocabulary, words. And if you don't understand the words or you don't know the meaning of the words, well, bad luck. But there will definitely not be words that you don't know, the meaning of. So you focus on the words, on the vocabulary to understand the meaning of the words, and to text comprehension. So the words together build the text. So if you know the meaning of the words, you are able to understand the text in totality. That is what you must focus on, right? So without comprehension, reading is nothing. Now here I have, thought, perhaps if we were given a little pictograph, hieroglyphics, it is a script written in pictures. We don't have this kind anymore perhaps, but in earlier days they used to have a picture script. So imagine being given a picture script. You will just see pictures and then you will not be able to understand it, because we are not trained to do that, right? So we are trained to understand what? Words. So we are reading for many reasons, but understanding is always the main purpose. Reading comprehension is important because without it, reading doesn't provide the reader with any information. So you have to focus on reading, on the words. When you understand the meaning of the words, you then understand the meaning of the passage in totality, right? So there are two types of passages that are given to you that you need to attempt. Factual text, that is text characterized by facts. Maybe you'll find that in an abstract of a novel or a legend or an epic, etc. So it has facts, or maybe it will even have fiction, some story, characters, etc. Or the other type of reading passage that is given to you is a discursive text. Discursive text is more like, a conversation between two people, like a debate between two people, each one offering their opinion, attempting to give both sides of a topic. So either it's a factual text that you get, an abstract from a book or a story, or you get a discursive text where there are two, thoughts that are happening simultaneously, and they're trying to give you both the sides of a topic, right? Good and bad or whatever. So let us now do the strategies. What kind of a strategy should we follow when we are doing our reading our comprehension passage? Now, broadly, reading comprehension, there are basically two specific reading strategies. One, as you know, skimming, and the other is scanning. Skimming and scanning. These are the two strategies of reading. Now, in my class today, I will deal with both, right? And then in the end, I'll tell you that you should do both, right? So first, let us do what is skimming. You have to actually, to be able to do a good reading so that you can do your comprehension well, you have to do both skimming and scanning. So let us first do skimming. What is skimming? And then we will do scanning. Now, these are basically strategies of speed reading. Now, why am I telling you to do speed reading? Why am I telling you to do that? Because as you know, you are doing an exam and there is only very little time given to you. And in that time, you have to do so many things, reading being a small little part of it. Yet, if you are able to read and comprehend well, you get 20 marks, right? So you have to, practice and become skillful at speed reading, right? So they are each used for different purposes and are not meant to be used all the time. So people who skim and scan are flexible readers. We do skimming, scanning all the time, every day with the newspapers. How many of us are reading every line and every word? We don't. We skim or we scan, depending on how much time we have and what is our motive, right? So we read according to the purpose. We do not read everything, mind you. There is no time to read everything. So you have to be very, very focused and only read that which helps you to comprehend, right? Only focus on those lines which help you to comprehend. So the skill lies in knowing what specific information to read, one, and two, which method to use. So we have to know what are we doing, why are we reading, and two, which method shall we use. Now, if you think, try to remember a question paper. The comprehension passage is given followed by the questions, right? So what is your motive in reading? To answer those questions correctly, right? So we know you know your purpose. Your purpose is to answer the questions correctly. So now you know you got your specific information, what you have to do. So when you are reading, quickly focus on the answers to those questions. Simple, right? So which method we shall use, I will do later as we do both in detail. So let's start with skimming. What is skimming? It is a tool you can use to read more in less time. So it refers to only looking for the general or main ideas, right? Your overall understanding is reduced because you don't read everything. So just by reading a few words and phrases, you've now understood what exactly the passage is about. What is it about, right? So you just read to find out the purpose. It takes place while reading and allows you to look for details and the main idea. Now, first, what you do, the first reading is more like a skimming, where you have just read through some words, read a few phrases, and you've got a general idea what it is about. Then at the back of your mind, you've already read the questions and you know what it's about, what you are expected to write, and then you can focus on each of the parts, right? When do we skim? When is this material non-fiction? See, if it is a fiction, if it is a little story, you will tend to read it all, just out of interest. So if it is a non-fiction thing, maybe like a discursive text or just an abstract full of maybe adjectives and adverbs and stuff, you will not understand, or rather not find the interest, because you don't know what happened before or after. It's not a little story, right? It's just a part of it. And we can just pick up any part and give it to you, or a part of a discursive text. Then it is non-fiction and it doesn't, interest you as much. So that is when you start skimming. Most important is you will skim when you know you have limited time, when you don't have too much time, right? And also when you already know something about it. So the moment you kind of see a few lines or go through the questions, you know what it is about. And do I have to read all the material or just what I need? If you know that, you will skim. So obviously you know that you don't have to really know every line or every bit of the passage given, because you just have to know enough to answer the questions, right? So you will skim. How do we skim? That's the next thing. How are we going to skim? We know we have to skim because we don't have time. It's a non-fiction. It's not very interesting. It's quite a boring passage and we have to score our 20 out of 20. So we have to skim. So how do we do it? First, don't read everything. What you read is more important than what you leave out. So just read what is important. So while you're glancing, focus on what you read. And that is why I said, before you even start, just quickly glance through the questions given so that you know what you're looking for in the passage, right? You need to read only the first sentence of each paragraph. Every paragraph has a topic sentence, and that topic sentence tells you what the paragraph is about. That is the, ideal way we write. So if you know your topic sentence, you know what is there in the paragraph. So you just focus on the topic sentence. If you don't get the main idea of the topic sentence, if you do not get the main idea, or if the paragraph has greatly interested you, then you may want to skim more. Sometimes we think we will do it quickly, but we get so engrossed in it that it takes up more time. But that's perfectly all right, as long as you have one eye on the time. You must not overshoot your time allotted, right? At the end of each topic sentence, your eye should drop down to the rest of the paragraph, looking for important pieces pieces of information like names, dates, place, or something that one of the questions probably required, right? So once you know what the questions are, you will read the topic sentence and then you will quickly glance down or, through the paragraph, quickly skim fast, looking for the important bits of information, right? Continue to read only topic sentences and then quickly glance down, dropping down through the rest of the paragraphs until you are near the end. Now, whenever a passage is given to you, don't think that the end is not important. If the end is given, it is as important as the beginning. We tend to make a big mistake here, We focus on the first part and by the time we come to the end, we lose interest. Please, students, hold on to your interest. Read till the end. Sometimes a lot of answers are hidden in the last paragraph of the passage. It may contain a conclusion, summary, etc. You can stop skimming and read that bit in detail. You understand? Don't just shut it and say, finished, I'm done. No. Read the end a little more in detail than you did the beginning. Okay? The next strategy is scanning. We need to do scanning also. Only skimming is not enough. We have to do scanning also. So let us see what scanning actually is and how it helps us. Okay? So it's another useful tool for speed reading. When scanning, you only look for specific facts of information without reading everything. So scanning, you need to understand how a material is structured as well as comprehend what you read. So once you have finished skimming, then you know that you have to look for the answers. For the answers, you have to scan, right? And in scanning, you don't have to go through everything, but just go to those paragraphs where the answer is hidden, right? And then read that a little more in detail. Leave the rest of it, but read the answer, that particular bit where the answer is hidden. Scanning also allows you to find details and other information when you are in a hurry, which you always are when you're answering your English paper, isn't it? Okay. So when do we scan? You scan when your aim is to find specific pieces of information. The more you practice, the more effective scanning will become. So we need to practice comprehension passages, do them at least, 10, 15 passages. Please do it during your preparation before you go to actually answer your board exams. That is my suggestion. At least apart from what's being done in school and for your project work, etc., please do more by yourselves for practice. It's very, very important if you want your 20 out of 20. The most important benefit of scanning is its ability to help you become a more flexible reader. And mind you, if you become skillful with skimming and scanning, you will find that later on also, you can read fast and you just enjoy doing it because you're not doing everything and the boredom doesn't hit you, right? So practice these two skills, skimming and scanning. How do we scan? Now, always materials are arranged in some manner. Either it is alphabetically or it is by category or textually. The kind of paragraphs you get is usually arranged textually, okay? Now, information can also be arranged in non-alphabetical order. Sometimes information is located within the written paragraphs of a text. In your case, it is always within the written paragraphs of the text. So it is like on a textual sense, like an encyclopedia. So that is why we need to scan. The material that we need, our answers are hidden in the text, in the paragraphs. It is you will not find it staring at you in the first line or in the last line. It will be somewhere in between, right? So we have to scan, we have to know what the paragraph has and then focus looking on that paragraph, looking for the answer hidden between the lines. Now, one other thing that I have found which is very useful is using your finger. When you are scanning, you can use your finger to locate specific information. So the moment you put your finger there, somehow it has an impact and your brain takes it in and remembers it. Okay? To read a train or bus, for instance, okay, using your finger is extremely helpful in focusing your attention, keeping your place while scanning a column of material. Your peripheral vision can also help you scan effectively. Peripheral vision, up, down, sideways, etc. When your hand moves down a list of names, you see not only the name of your finger, but also the names above and below the list. So this using a finger is most useful when you are reading maybe a list of names, right? In a comprehension passage, it is useful to help you kind of focus on important facts that are hidden between the lines. So here are some tips for handling questions with reading passages. Concentrate. Put aside your worries and distractions and get down to business. When you have to do reading, forget about how many questions you've answered or how difficult the paper was or how you couldn't tackle the essay or the letter writing. Just forget it. Just focus on reading. Why? Because you want 20 out of 20. right? So get down to business. Read through the questions as quickly and carefully as you can. Very important part of comprehension. Make sure you understand the questions. Sometimes they are worded in a certain way that the first time you look at it, you're like, I'm confused. What is it? What do they want me to know? Right. What are they looking for? So read it again. Calm down. You absolutely must understand your questions. If you have not understood your questions, your answer will be wrong. Okay? Look for the answers as you read the text again. These are the main three things. Focus, concentration, read the questions, understand the questions, and then while you are skimming and scanning, look for the answers in the passage. Feel free to look back at the passage to double check your answers. Most factual answers are present in the passage directly. Read between the lines to look for inner meaning. Use one word answers only if the instruction says so. If they tell you just give one word for, then put one word. Otherwise, always write in a full, complete sentence. English should be written in a complete sentence. Use precise and correct vocabulary, very important, and try to answer in your own words. Don't just copy straight from the passage and put it down. And that is why I have been harping again and again. Understand. Try to understand. Right from the first slide onwards, I've been telling you, reading means to understand. Right? If you don't understand, you have failed as a reader. So, whether you have understood or not, the examiner will know when he or she reads your answers. If your answers is not in your own words, bang, it goes. It means you have not understood, you are very good at copying, right? So these are basically the important tips to help you read well, comprehend well, and get your, yes, 20 out of 20. Okay? I'm giving you a passage here. Read through the passage. It's a very short, simple passage. Read it, and then there are some questions that follow. We will answer it. Okay? Just read the passage. No one knows exactly where or when cricket began, but it is most likely that it began as a children's game in England and was played only by children of many countries. It is believed that the game was invented by children who belonged to the farming families of southeast England. They would play in grass clearings or areas grazed by sheep. A matted lump of sheep's wool or even a stone or lump of wood would be used as ball. A stick or some other farm tool would serve as a bat, and a gate or tree stump would be used for the wicket. The earliest written reference to the game was in 1598, where it was called cricket. In the 17th century, it slowly became a village game and adults began to take part in it. Today, cricket is one of the most popular sports of the world and is played and watched by millions. Alright, let's go to the questions. Where is cricket believed to have started? It is believed to have started as a children's game in England. Who were the earlier players? The game was probably invented by children who belonged to the farming families of southeast England. In which year was the earliest reference to cricket made? Earliest reference was in 1598 and it was called cricket. When did cricket become a game played by adults? Cricket became a game played by adults by the 17th century. It gradually became a village game and adults also began to play it. Alright, so let's do some grammar. Very simple. This is probably the simplest piece that I have done it for you. Now, it's definitely not going to be so simple. This is just an example. Now, I'm going to give you another passage. Just read that and try to comprehend. question bit. Fill in the summary using one word only. Try and do it. You will have to keep referring to the passage. Like we said, whenever you come across a question, you need to go back and refer to the passage, quickly look for it, underline it with a pencil if you want, and fill in the blanks. You will need to do this continuously, read the passage and do it for both the questions. That is what I wanted to show you. You will find many questions wherein you will have to keep referring to the passage, going back and reading the passage, and then coming back to answer again and again, right? So now you see, you will have questions for which you will have to, read the questions before you start reading a comprehension passage, and then go back when you're skimming and scanning, focus on the answers to the questions, right? You will also find a lot of questions that I just showed you in the previous slide, which you will have to refer to the passage to answer them. You will have to keep going back. There might be a fill in the blank or a give one word for. So you will have to go back to the passage and refer to it and then answer your questions. Is that clear? And like I said, please practice 10 to 15 passages by yourself at least. You can do more than that, then your 20 out of 20 is assured. But do at least 10 to 15 passages by yourself. That's called self-study, right? Before you go to attempt the comprehension passage in your board exam, all right? With that, we come to the end of reading skills, comprehension skills. All the best and thank you.